really fun to be able to do something like this. And I do, I'm going to embarrass two people maybe, but I want to introduce Jason and Katrina Stott. They are the ones, say hi. Wait, Katrina. They are the ones who actually started this process. They unfortunately were the ones who were driving down the road when this eagle decided to take off from her meal of a raccoon that had been hit. Yeah, dead raccoon by the side of the road. But fortunately for the eagle, they took the time to stop and assess the situation and see what was going on. And then again, one of our Jackson County deputy sheriffs met with them, got them here, and we were just the holding facility to transfer them to the folks at the Macbride Raptor Center, and that's where I'm going to let Luke take over. He's one of the people who's been working with the bird. He's the person who brought it back today, and so you're going to get to see one of our success stories. So, Luke,
thank you. We love success stories. I've also brought some brochures. I'm going to leave them behind for people to take. Again, I'm from the Macbride Raptor Project. The eagle came into us about the middle of September, and we weren't really sure what happened to this bird other than it got hit or almost got hit. So at our raptor clinic, which is located in Cedar Rapids, we were able to get an x-ray, full physical examination. That's sort of what we do. People from the public call us with injured birds, or they get to the conservation boards in their county and then they are transported to us. This bird, we weren't sure, no broken bones, no lead poisoning. We tested the blood for heavy metal. Nothing is found. But she was acting kind of dumpy, so we just do a blanket diagnosis of head injury. And that happens a lot. But for a while, she wasn't eating anything, she wasn't doing anything, until one day we're like, maybe she's just really thirsty. You know, sometimes we don't know how to treat them. We put this big bowl of water, she hops down and starts gulping. Most raptors don't need to take big drinks of water. The water they get is from the raccoon that they are eating or the mice that they're eating. So this was really, this bird just needed some water, and from there it was up and up. Again, sometimes it's up to the birds on how well they get through recovery. This bird, 2 weeks after she left our clinic, was ready to fly again, and that's when we called Jackson County, and we're hoping that they could set something up. And we're so happy to be able to help you guys and the bird and get this beautiful animal back to the wild where it belongs.
Awesome. You mentioned the heavy metals and the lead, and I've heard some other people working with rehab birds. How much of a problem is that you're seeing at your facility?
Lead is a problem for any living organism. There's no living animal or other organism that uses lead in a healthy way. So the places that it's coming from is usually from hunting muzzle loaders or lead shot, or also fishing lures that are made out of lead. The eagles will eat the carcass that might still have lead in it that the hunter wasn't able to track, or a fish that swallows the lead will die. They go belly up. And eagles, as beautiful and majestic as they are, they're really lazy hunters. They only hunt for the fish that's right at the surface. So a belly up fish, yum. And just the tiniest bit of lead, a BB size from a pellet gun, would be enough if they swallow it and can't get it out. We see about 20 bald eagles each year. Half of them come in with high levels of lead in their blood, and many of them either die or have to be put to sleep because of those injuries that are caused by the lead. But this one, fortunately, had very little in its blood, so we didn't have to worry about that compound injury going on. Yeah. So it is a problem. There are alternatives to lead. They're more expensive, and sometimes you need special barrels in your gun to deal with that, but it's not going to cause the poisoning that you see with lead shot. So we always encourage alternative metals in hunting and fishing. Did you have a question?
I did. The sex and age of the eagle?
Okay, it is an adult. I can't give an exact age. It's at least 5. Without dental records, obviously these birds don't have teeth. It's a little harder to tell. Sometimes you can look in their eyes and they're just saying, maybe I'm a young bird, or I've got a lot of fight to me. As long as no signs of arthritis are showing up, it's very difficult to tell. I believe it is a male. because of the size. Females are always substantially larger than the boys. The boys are the small ones in the raptor world. But because it runs in the 9-pound range and it's got lots of good meat, it's probably not going to get any heavier. That's a male size here in the state of Iowa. So an adult male is what we're releasing today. Yes?
One more question would be, why release it here and not back at Macbride?
Well, this is pretty close to where it was found. It's always nice when a bird can get back to maybe a familiar place, but it came to us in September.
Right.
Many birds that are up north have been done with their nesting cycle for months. This may be a migrant. We don't know if this is a bird that will nest here in Iowa. So to be honest, it may not have hurt to release it at Macbride, but if we can get it back to the place it was found, we don't overcrowd an area, we get it back to an area where it was before, and the finders get the chance to also see it released. So that is also a nice part about bringing it back. So, yeah, what's your question?
Did it get run over or something?
Well, I'm not really sure. It doesn't look like it did, but what exactly did happen?
It flew up as we were going by and it flew right into the windshield. And we thought it was dead, and thank God it wasn't.
Good, good. So luckily it didn't get run over, but that must have hurt really badly. What's your question in the back?
Do bald eagles get sick?
Do bald eagles get sick? They do. And they get sick in the same ways that we get sick. Bald eagles can get colds. Did you know that? They can get colds and sometimes they sneeze. But if they eat something that's poisonous, it makes them sick just like it would if we ate something that we're not supposed to. So yep, bald eagles can get sick as well. Yeah.
How long can bald eagles fly for?
How long can they fly for? They can fly a very long time. When you see this bald eagle leave, you're going to see that he's got about 6.5 feet of wings. So my wings here, that's only 6 feet. His wings are bigger than mine. When they catch a gust of wind, it picks them up like a kite. Have you ever flown a kite before? And the wind just takes it up into the sky and it never comes down as long as there's wind. An eagle can stay on those winds for as long as the wind is there, so for very long distances. And they can move over 100 miles an hour just by catching a strong wind. Pretty impressive stuff. So if it hits a car at that fast, that speed, owie. Any other questions? Right.
I have one more for people. The rehabilitation place, the bird was first taken to veterinary lab for assessment and everything, but then where it was doing the flight and rehabilitation is that, you want to tell us a little bit about the center?
Sure.
People can visit there, right?
Yes, what Anne's talking about is our Macbride Raptor Center. The Raptor Clinic is the sister facility. The Raptor Center is where we have birds of prey on display in their own enclosures. Those are birds that came into our vet clinic. We could not heal them completely, so they have to stay in captivity. But the thing about the Raptor Center is there's lots of space. It's out in the middle of the woods. You get the breeze, you get the birds singing, and we also have a very large cage for bald eagles and large birds to practice their flight again. Because for sometimes 2 or more months, these birds are in a tiny cage where they can't move, they can't fly, their muscles get weak. So instead of throwing a bird that's weak out into the wild, we want them to strengthen those muscles in their wings. And the only way birds can do that is to fly. So we have flight cages where those birds can fly. The public can't go in there because those are birds that we want to release. Any contact with humans is stressful and will slow that healing process down. But the birds on display, we are open every day of the week, every day of the year. I say if the sun's up, we're open. Come down and visit free of charge. And again, I've left some brochures that tells you where we're located, what our mission is. We're out to help the birds of prey and the habitats that they live in. Yeah.
How is that funded?
We're co-sponsored by the University of Iowa and Kirkwood Community College. But our operating costs, our food that we use to feed the birds that are in captivity and in our clinic healing, all of that comes from donations and volunteer work. That's really what we're based on, is volunteers and donations. Did you have a question?
When rehabilitating the wildlife, the wild birds in captivity like that, how does that impact the wild birds? Do you have a special way of feeding them or interacting with them?
Yes, the human wild animal contact it's unavoidable in those circumstances, so we handle only to feed if the bird won't eat on their own, and that happens a lot if the bird isn't feeling good or is disoriented. But once we get a bird eating on their own, we sometimes will just move them from one cage to another, or if we have a double wide, we divide it and let them move over on their own. The key is handle as little as necessary, let them feed themselves once they're able to. So yeah, it's really about keeping as little contact with them as possible. And voices off. Our clinic is a silent zone. The more human voices, the more stress we cause for those animals. So if you're transporting a wild animal, don't talk to it, keep quiet, and the bird will be a lot better off.
And then, what was my other question? I don't need to go. Your flight cages. Do you put more than one bird in there, or just one at a time? Yeah,
that's a great question. She asked, do we put more than one bird in the same cage to fly together? The answer is yes, as long as there's enough food. Food is going to be the limiting resource in captivity. So if we have two birds in a space and they have enough space that they're not going to collide with each other constantly, just put enough food. Also, make sure you're not putting a hawk in with a tiny little kestrel, okay, because we don't want the food web enact right there on the live animals. So we don't want a little kestrel being eaten by a hawk, because the hawk's just going to say, what? It was delicious, okay? They don't know the difference. So yes, we can put multiple birds together.
And then the food source, is that, so to speak, roadkill?
We used to. We are very fortunate, but we always accept more donations so that we can do more for the project and the birds. But no, currently we are buying from a producer that raises animals for zoos and for facilities like ours that need a constant source of rodents and small birds. But if anyone goes like for fishing trips, and catches way more than they can, especially carp, which you're not supposed to release back, at least the specific kind of carp. Or if the fisheries, sometimes fisheries will do mass kills, they'll actually electrocute the fish, and then they'll have all these dead fish. We just got a shipment from Lynn County of fish, and that's great for the eagles because that's what they love to eat. So we buy most of it. Some of it comes donated, but right now we're lucky we don't have to scrape anything off the road. But if you talk to my boss, Jodine Cancillo, she'll tell you of those days where she saw something on the side of the road and she went for the shovel and picked it up. So
you're actually putting live animals?
They're dead.
Are they dead? Okay.
Yeah, okay. They're already dead, frozen, and packaged. We're kind of spoiled. Okay, we're spoiled here. More questions? Yeah, what's your question?
How do bald eagles actually catch their food?
Oh, that's a great question. All raptors use their feet. The feet, called talons, have sharp claws like little spears. They swoop down over the water after seeing the fish. They've got really good vision. They swoop down, and just as they get to the fish, they plop their feet in, and with those sharp claws, they snag the fish like a hook would snag a fish in the mouth. And then they fly away to the shore or fly over to their nest to feed their babies. And then they use their sharp curved beak, which you're all going to get to see, to tear it up into smaller bite-sized pieces because birds can't chew.
I think we can see it right there.
Okay, I think so. All right. The one I have is going to probably have that mouth open just like that, showing you that she's stressed. Yeah, what's your question?
How big are their eggs?
How big are their eggs? Do you have some? Oh, okay, okay.
Take that, go ahead, take that.
Okay. Look, that's a big chicken egg, okay? They're pure white. They've got sort of a grayish tone to them. They lay about 3 or 4 of these eggs, usually only 3 of them are going to hatch. And if you're really lucky as a bald eagle, you'll have 2 of those babies survive to leave the nest. Has anyone watched the Decorah Eagle camera? Okay, good. That's a great one to watch. And they moved on us. You know, hey, we can't control that. They just decided it's time to start a new one. But that is a really, really good nest, because if they don't have enough squirrels or rabbits or whatnot, guess what? A fishery is right next door. They live right next to a fishery, so they have plenty of food, and they're usually putting out 3 babies. So it's kind of sad that that one baby didn't make it, though. But did you know that the baby bald eagles are bigger than mom and dad? What? Bigger. The wingspan is longer on the babies. The wing feathers are longer. Don't know if that gives them better gliding abilities for practice for the first 4 or 5 years, but their wings are actually larger. So imagine, parents, at 1 month, your kids are bigger than you. So yes, those parents get out of there and just come back to feed the babies until they can fly on their own. That's called fledging, when they leave the nest, make their first glide, usually down to the ground. They've just fledged the nest, and we call them fledglings then. So,
can you show that span again?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm only 6. This is a turkey vulture. Okay, so put another half a foot on each one, and then you've got an eagle. What's your question?
What age do the babies start to begin flying?
Begin flying? Okay. They usually are hatching out of their eggs early April. Then it takes 10 to 12 weeks, so about 2.5 months, before their wings are big enough and strong enough for them to start taking their first flights out of the nest. So by July, those babies have probably taken some pretty good attempts at flying. But what happens when they go down to the ground and they're not good enough to get back up the tree? Do you know what they can do? They can climb right back up using their feet and their beak. I've seen it. You don't believe it until you see it, but they use them like grappling hooks. Mom and dad will still bring them food even after they've left the nest, but they've got to start learning how to catch food on their own. So they practice. They start with leaves that are blowing by, or maybe insects that are hopping around. Then the eagles, once they learn to fly, they go out with mom and dad. It's really beautiful. Mom and dad will lead them out over water, and you'll see the babies behind. We get to see it every year at our center because there's a nest across the reservoir. And you hear them talking, and sometimes a baby gets confused because we have a bald eagle in a cage that talks back. When that adult talks, guess where baby goes? Down and lands on the cage. And baby will sit there, preening its feathers, and watch our poor spirit, who has a broken wing and can't fly. They'll just sit there for about an hour, wondering probably, why aren't you coming out? Why are you just sitting in there? And then they see the real mom and dad fly by, and then they take off again. Kind of cool. I don't know, I think spirit kind of gets a kick out of it, maybe. What's your question?
Do really bald eagles, baby bald eagles, can fly?
Can they fly? Yeah, that's a good question. Baby bald eagles can fly once they get strong enough and big enough. 3 months. Give them 3 months and they'll be flying in the sky doing everything mom and dad can do. It just takes a little practice before they can catch fish really well. Sort of like if you go fishing, sometimes it takes a little practice casting that pole or reeling it in. If you get a big one, you got to take your time.
Parents who go fishing.
Okay, good. Well, it's nice that your parents took you. All right, what's your question?
How come on that one it's Like, does its wings expand, or do they stay like that?
Nope, they expand all the way out. What you see right now, the wrist here, about a third to a half of their entire wing is just fingers. The feathers out here are called primaries. That's the wrist, which many people think is the shoulder. If the shoulder's that far away from the body, it definitely needs to come into our medical clinic. But the shoulder's up there by the white head feathers, hidden under those feathers. So no, that bird only has its wings out like this. But imagine it fully out. When you see that eagle fly away, then you're going to get to see the wingspan all the way out. And it's just going to glide once it gets a good flight. So you just watch and see. That's nothing. That's like a small hawk, like that, just like that. Does anyone know how much they weigh? Did I already say how much they weigh?
You said
Said
9.
what the one that.
Okay.
9.
Okay, good.
What's the average female weight?
Here in Iowa, it's going to be anywhere from 11 to 12 pounds, a good healthy female. The cool thing about this bird is as you move up the latitude, so closer to Canada and Alaska, the weight gets bigger. Makes sense. It's colder up there. They need more body mass to stay warm. You go down to Florida, and these eagles live in Florida too. The females rarely get bigger than this boy we're going to release, 9 pounds. Anywhere between 6 and 9. So tiny in Florida, huge in Alaska, but girls always bigger. They're known as the queen of the sky, so the queen's in charge here. All right. Yeah.
How long does it take for a young eagle to get to white head?
5 years. I just say 5 years. They start getting a more mottled look. It's very sudden actually, but between 4 and 5, that's when they're going to molt out those juveniles feathers and get those white head tail feathers, and the beak turns yellow like that slowly. So you'll see it gradually getting more and more yellow. The eyes go from a rich dark brown to a bright yellow as well. So lots of changes happen in that 4th year. It's a great 5th birthday gift, you know? Like, look at me. And that means they're ready to start nesting on their own.
It takes 5 years for that.
Yep. Before they're able to.
Obviously, you said he's 5, so that's
at
how
least.
He's got a white head.
Yep, at least 5. All right. That's great. Okay. One more. What's your question?
When the mama and dada are away, would some predators like climb up the tree and eat one of the babies or something?
Certainly, predators can climb up trees, things like raccoons are kind of a problem for some of our birds. But you know, the birds, what they do, they sense when mom and dad aren't nearby. And what they'll do is instead of standing up like this, they'll hunch down a little bit. They'll stay out of the wind, they'll stay out of trouble's way. But I'll tell you what, a raccoon coming into an eagle nest, that's not a good idea. These birds know what to do with a raccoon like that. But there really are always issues and threats. That's why a lot of birds don't make it. Did you know that 80% of every raptor born this spring will not make it to their first birthday?
I bet most of the raccoons learn their lesson.
I bet they do too. And that's okay. There are plenty of raccoons to learn their lesson. Well, what do you think? Should we go out and get this bird out? Our fancy transporter. Perfect day to let her go.
That's beautiful.
The wind's not going to blow her around. Him. I always say her because they look huge to me.
Yeah, because I get assign a name to them, or try not to.
This bird is BAEA 13104. It's BAEA for bald eagle.
Okay.
13 for the year, 104 for the 104th case that came into our clinic this year, which is actually a rather slow year for September. We should be somewhere in the 120s or so. We get a total of 150 in on average each year. Half of them make it back to the wild like this, which are actually pretty good statistics.
Well, it's wonderful to be able to experience a release of a bald eagle to the wild.
Yeah, in this profession, I mean, it doesn't get much more beautiful than watching an eagle fly away from you. We just hope it doesn't come back.
Yeah.
I brought this equipment because I'd like to invite you to release the bird if you like.
Oh, I'd love to.
Now this jacket, a welder's jacket and apron, you want to put that on and get that on securely.
Either way, huh? This way?
That's the top, yeah. Oh, let's see. I'll help with this one. There we go.
Alright.
Like putting on a suit. There we go. And then this apron, once you get that buttoned up, the top buttoned up, will wrap around. It's going to protect you from the talons, but you're going to have control of the talons. I don't want the beak biting at you.
Yeah.
Their beaks are strong enough to bend metal, so you definitely want, let's get this one up here, and then button up and down. Yeah, that's good enough. And then put on the glasses. Seagull's not going to thank us for doing this, but you don't want to put these on.
Excuse me, we have one more person coming.
Oh, sure.
Can we just wait until she gets here?
While we're waiting, I'll tell you that I have already attached a metal band, an aluminum band with a number on it. This number is going to identify this eagle as coming from Jackson County, Iowa. In fact, we have an almost exact location. And that it is an adult, where it was released. If this bird is ever spotted again, let's say it's spotted somewhere in Indiana, we'll know that at some point in its life it made its way through Iowa. Now, it's not as fancy as the GPS units that you see backpacked onto them, so you're not going to go onto the computer and watch it up in Hudson Bay, and then day 3 it's back here in Wisconsin. But this is our simple way of tracking these birds through the wild, and before all of this, computerized stuff, this is the only way to put tags or bands on the legs. So we're kind of old school, but no other bird in the world is going to have this band on it. So when it's found again, we'll know where it came from. All right, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Now, I'm going to give you instructions on how to hold the legs properly and safely. And I know that when she came in, she may have given some trouble, but this bird's going to give a lot more fight than when you first found her. Him.
Yeah.
Those are the wings all the way out. So, palm side down with your dominant hand, whatever you're right-handed, palm side down, pointer finger between the legs underneath there, squeeze around tightly with those. Now, I'm going to have you hold her head right in the middle of the chest. There you go. And then you can put her upright now so that her head is right to the floor. There you go. Okay, now relax.
Okay. I'm good.
Open mouth tells you stress. Band is on the right leg. That's the right leg to put it on. Just remember that if you're banding birds. Right is right. And what I'm going to ask is that if we can throw it that direction, if you guys can come over either to this side, we're going to give her nothing but clear shot ahead. On the count of 3, you are literally going to throw her as hard as you can and let go out. And she's going to take off right away. So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. One, 2, 3. Last name Hart, H-A-R-T, and I'm with Macbride, M-A-C-B-R, small b, R-I-D-E, Raptor, P-T-O-R, Project. Assistant Director. Good? Okay, thank you.
Well, what a wonderful eagle release. It was beautiful.
Just perfect, so that's great.
Can I do a quick recap?
Sure. So this bald eagle was injured, was hit by a vehicle on September 15th east of Macocata, and the gentleman who flew into his car, he stopped and retrieved it, and the Jackson County Sheriff's Department helped him make connections with us. We just held the bird overnight and then made connections with the folks at the Raptor Rehab Center, and they've had the bird ever since the 16th of September, and they finally they determined no permanent injuries, and that all it just needed to do was get stronger, and when that happened, then they could bring it back here and release it, so that it was released close to where it was found. And we had a beautiful day for it and a nice group of people that came out to cheer it on.
Yes, we did. Can you give us a little information about the Hurstville Interpretive Center?
Sure.
Like when you're open and stuff.
Sure. The Hurstville Interpretive Center is open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then Saturdays and Sundays, it's open from April through December. We are closed on weekends during the winter. And during the spring and summer and early fall months, we're open on weekends noon till 5 p.m. And in November and December, we're open noon till 4. So stop on out. You may see some eagles flying in the air. Maybe this one that we just released. Lots of other things to see too, including our trumpeter swans and the exhibits and our snakes and fun things like that. So thanks for stopping.
Wonderful. And what about the internet? Can they get you on the web and email and your Facebook?
They can. Our website is www.jacksoncccb.com. And our email is jacksoncccb@jacksoncccb.com.
And they can find you on Facebook.
They can find us on Facebook, dude. Just Google Hurstville Interpretive Center, or search Hurstville Interpretive Center on Facebook.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Here we go. Tell us how we can get a hold of you guys, or if I want to find out more information about the eagles and the raptor.
Okay, sure. You can get a hold of us. You can go to our website at MacbrideRaptorProject.org. You can call our clinic. The information is there on the website. You can check us out on Facebook, like us on Facebook, and follow our blog that gives sort of updates on activities and events with the Raptor Project.
Great. Tell us a quick story about your experience.
Yeah, we just come over the hill with me and my daughter, and I said something about look at the coon, or look at the eagle eating on a raccoon alongside the road. And just as I said that, it swerved up, and I swerved over, and it went right in the windshield, flew over the truck, and we stopped. We thought it was dead. Waited a while. There's no movement. I covered it up with a rug. and then I thought it was dead, and I was kind of nervous because we got a dead eagle here. And then all of a sudden, the carpet started moving up and down, and I go, hey, the heart's beating.
Yes.
Well, then another gentleman stopped. I can't remember his name. Super nice gentleman, called the police. They were on the way out, and right before the police got there, the eagle turned over and got on its breast and stretched its wings out. And then at that time, I went and got another carpet and put over it. And the officer got there, and we picked it up, put it into my truck with a cab, and we brought it here.
Wow.
And it was awesome.
Well, a commendable thing. Thank you very much for saving the eagle. And thank you very much for bringing it and rehabilitating it and releasing it back in Jackson County and Macoka here.
It's our pleasure.
That's great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.